I like to make reproductions using old donor cards like this one, and this one is not a very good game. And with that, I have no problems repurposing it for some other type of game. And because this is an SEROM, there's not a lot of ROMs that I can make this out of, but there's one in particular that I do want to make, and that's Palamedes II. There was no art for this. I had to pull out of the images from online to make my own label. It's not the best quality image, but I do think it's okay for a label. I put it together, try to make it represent something pleasing, and I think it came out alright. I do like it myself. It stays close to the Famicom version of the original cart. A little bit sideways, but I didn't want to compromise any of the image. That's it. Let's get started. Opening this thing up, you see that this board on the top, that this cart is an SEROM, and it's compatible with the Palamedes game that I'm going to make. One thing that you'll notice, it's a 28-pin ROM chips. Both these have to be removed, and much like the NROM and CNROMs, you don't have to do any rewiring, because I'll be using the same type of chips those PCBs use. It's an M27C512, and the type of chip that once you put them inside, you don't have to do any resoldering, any type of rewiring. So just plop them in, solder them in, and the game is just going to work. So let's get started removing these chips. And all I have is a manual desoldering pump. I don't have one of those fancy desoldering guns. One, they're too expensive, and I don't have the money for that. And this is more than enough. This is good. It hasn't failed me yet. Just good. Look at that. No issues. Before I pull, let me further loosen these up a little bit. A little bit of crackling, that's fine. That just tells you it's breaking from whatever's left over inside. And with that said, I don't really have to do anything. See that? You don't have to pull nothing. It can just come right on out. And if you don't try to pull them out. You'll pull off those traces. So just take it slow. If it doesn't come out the first time, just keep desoldering until it comes out. There you go. See? That easy. It preserves the pins. See, look at that, the pinholes. You always want to maintain positive contact. There you go. Look how clean that is. Now let's try this one. Oh, look at that. A little soldering hand pump hasn't failed me yet. Boom. Go ahead and pay that $300 for that pump. You're overpaying. Now, you can go further in and clean up a little bit more. What I usually do is get a little bit of soldering braid and keeping my tip at 410. Place it to the side and just swipe across, picking up whatever's left over. One more, this one, and that'll be my last one. Bam. Clean, no damage around there. One thing I wanted to mention, when you're using a desoldering gun, those things run pretty hot. Sometimes you can't really control the heat unless you get a real good one. but when you put those metal tips on there and you shake it around trying to get the metal on metal contact to get that heat in, usually you start scratching up that all these green sides, and that's not what you want, because you're trying to compromise the pinholes, and that's what you're trying to protect. And because I'm cheap and I have to use the soldering pump, it actually works out for me because it actually protects the pinholes. So just a recommendation. Hey, if I understand if you can't use these, but if you have an option and there's nothing wrong physically with your hands, go ahead and use a soldering manual soldering pump. They're not bad at all, as you can see. Now that I've prepped my board, I have to prep my chips. Before I actually start programming my chips, I want to label them, that way I don't forget. I don't want to put them in the wrong spot, so I'll label one PRG and the other one CHR. And now that I've done that, let's go on the internet, find my file. Before I move on, I want to show you this website. It's BUNK-ASS. You can see the address there. BUNK-ASS will actually show you the PCBs that are compatible. And the way I did my query is, if you just go down here, you can either check by PCB or by title. For example, you'll see here Sesame Street 123, and you'll see Palamedes in the search query that I just did for SEROMs, all the way down here. Now, from what I understand, this is Palamedes II was only exclusive to Japan, and it says SE-01 alpha. So I think it's the first revision, and the other ones are 2, 3, and 4, but it doesn't matter, they're all compatible. Alright, again, Palamedes II, again, was exclusive to Japan, and because of that, some of the language in there is going to be in Japanese. So you have to go to romhacking.net, and they have a patch here which you can patch the game. That way it can have English text instead of Japanese text. Alright, and you can download it from this website. Moving down here, you'll see here, this is the original ROM, and this is the tutorial phase of in the game. It's all in Japanese, but once you patch the game, it'll come up in English. Palamedes II. Just give it a moment. Once it goes to the demo screen, you'll see that it's all in English. See? No, the Japanese text is actually gone. Now it's in English. The way you do this, I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough before I continue on. I use Lunar IPS, and once I download the patch from romhacking.net, I go to the file where it's stored at. Going down to Palamedes II, you'll see the patch here, and the patch will show up as like a little heart file. You click on that, and once you click on it, it'll show you the file, and you click on that, and your file will be patched. But I've already patched, so I'm going to leave it alone. And once that's done, just go to FamiROM, and that's not the chip I want to be using. It says here 27C256. I'm not using that. I'm actually using the 512. So I'm going to click these as 512. That way they burn correctly. Then I click that, and they're going to be split. And here they are. Both files have to split. And what FamiROM does, it actually doubles up the memory to fill up all the space in the EPROM. Now moving down to my my EPROM programmer, I use the Top Loader 3000. I mostly got this because some YouTuber, his name is John Riggs, he recommended it. It's actually, one, because it's easy to use, unlike the other ones. Very simple, very straightforward, and it does exactly what I needed to do. It burns It makes chips for NES, Super NES, and Genesis, and that's all really what I need it for. And if that's what you need, this is the one you want to get. It's very easy to use. And the file and the program looks sort of like this. When you want to load up your EPROMs, you just search through it. You just do a search through these categories. It'll show up. I already picked it. It shows down here the chip I'll be using. And before I load the file, I'm going to clear out all this mess. Okay, it's all clear. Let me clear this out. I'll be loading up the CHR first, making sure the little impression's up in front. Once it's in there, click it in. And I'm going to check if it's actually been wiped. Right here. Clear. Now that it's been cleared, I'm going to load up the file and the CHR right here. Clicking on that. I'll leave this alone. No need for me to change it. Hit OK and I write the file. Once it's complete, I do a verify, and it looks like it's good to go. I'll remove my EPROM. Load up the PRG. Load up the ROM. Okay, it's in. Now I'm gonna clear this out. Go load up the PRG. Boom. Leave it alone. Make sure everything's cleared out. I'm gonna do a verify if it's clean. It's clean. Now, boom, done. Verify it. It's done. No errors. Yeah, now that I'm done programming these chips, I'm gonna start placing them into the PCB. I'm gonna start off with my PRG. Again, I don't have to rewire any of these because I'm using the 512s. It's gonna, the way I'm gonna solder these in is just like I'm gonna do an NROM and a CHROM. Make sure the little indentation is up the same direction as depicted up here. And the last one. Bam! Gotta get it done. Alright. Oh, that was fairly easy. Alright. CHR to CHR, PRG to PRG. And they're both facing the right way. Alright. Do the corners first. That way I can make sure everything's seated. Now I can continue on. Make sure I put enough solder in there. That way it has a good positive connection. Sometimes when people make repros, especially like myself, if I want to put enough solder in these joints or these pins, the game's not going to work, and sometimes I'm left confused on what I did wrong until I really checked these solder points. And I come to find out I didn't put enough solder in these spots, and I lose a lot of momentum in making these reproductions. Because making repros should be fun, shouldn't be tedious. I only do this for fun. I don't do this for profit. Anyways, if I did, I probably won't make any money. There's so many people, so many companies and people making reproductions, it's not even funny. So if you're going to make repros, you might as well do it for yourself. Don't even try to get into this. You're not going to make anything. Now that we're done, let's plug it in and see if it works. I'm going to use my Retron HD to test out this card. Alright, cross your fingers. Hope it works. Oh, Game works. Let's see if the patch held. Come on. Just want to see the patch. Oh, I'm pushing the button. Oh, player mode 1. Patch worked. Now that I know this game works, these old chips can go into my recycle bin. Of old EPROMs, of all the donor cards I've actually reproed. Now I can say goodbye to Sesame Street 1, 2, 3 and use Palamedes. I'll use the other cartridge for another donor. I'll just prep this one in preparation to the next one. Get this ready. And this game has a new life on my shelf. It's a very decent, very competent puzzle game. It's very fun to play, and it looks really nice. I think I did pretty good on the label. If you guys want the label, go ahead and I have it listed. I have the link on the description. You can download it. Hey, yeah, use it if you want it. All right.